All right, hey, I'm Big John from BackStage360,
All right.
and we are with Donavon Frankenreiter, who just played on possibly the biggest stage in the world,
Yes.
and here at KAABOO Del Mar Festival.
Yeah.
So,
I heard it's one of the biggest, one of the three. There's three of them in America, that big, and that's one of them. And I think that was the stage that the Grateful Dead just played on.
oh, really?
The last concert
in
yeah.
Chicago?
Yeah. That
Nice.
stage has got some mojo.
Well, I've looked at this stage, and I'll tell you, with those giant screens on either side, how did it feel being 100 feet tall?
It was crazy. It was like one of the biggest stages I've ever played on. It was like huge, and it's definitely one of the hottest stages I ever played on. 1 o'clock, so it was sun was blazing, and
Well, you're wearing a cowboy hat, so it's very suiting. High noon almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So,
kind of helped out a little, so that was cool. But it was hotter. It was one of the hottest shows I ever played. But it was killer. It was great. I mean, people showed up, which was cool because it's 1 o'clock, just kind of kicking that stage off, and somebody's got to start it off. So we had the privilege to do it.
well, you rocked it. You
was
definitely.
fun. It was really fun. It was perfect for the 1 o'clock little afternoon session. It was nice.
Yeah, your music is considered what, like surf rock.
I guess I do a lot of surfing and I play music, so they kind of zap those two things together.
Speaking of surfing, on your new album, The Heart, you have a song called Big Wave.
Yes.
Does that bring you back to the days of teenager when you were signed with Billabong and had all that?
I mean, it was funny
awesome-
that whole song. I had the music to it and I had the chorus, and then I sent it over to my buddy Grant Lee Phillips, and he wrote the words for the verses, and it was classic because he changed it to Big Wave, and it was funny. He doesn't even surf, so and it was like everybody hears the title of that song, so they think like, oh man, he finally wrote a song about surfing. But really, that's just about the emotions that you might have when you meet somebody. And it's like a big wave coming on strong. All about like sort of the emotions of love that you might feel when somebody's around or whatever. But
yeah,
to use that was pretty cool. That he used that little twist in there of surfing.
That's awesome. Yeah, you collaborated with him a lot on this album.
I did. Yeah, he wrote probably, I think 3 songs all by himself, and then we collaborated on like 6 of them, and then I wrote 3 by myself. So it was really cool.
Perfect. That's well. It sounds amazing, and there you got a couple of good songs on there other than Big Wave. And actually, back to the surfing, I wanted to ask you: do you still surf in San Clemente?
Yeah. Well, I live in Hawaii full time, and
Okay.
I'm still, endorsed by a bunch of different products, like a bunch of different like brands. I work with, and I've been doing it for 25 years.
Are you still with
professionally.
Billabong?
Still with Billabong.
Who else are you signed with?
Sanuk sandals, Von Zipper sunglasses,
Wow.
Subaru cars. This beverage company called Tea of a Kind, Hobie surfboards.
How do you find the time to do that and still raise your son?
I got 2 boys.
Oh, you got 2? Okay.
Yeah, so 2. And then I just signed last year to Mastercraft Boats. We're working on a boat. We're going to build this boat that has a 6-foot barreling wake behind it. It's going to be insane.
Wow.
That's going to be the future.
And
So-
you're going to is it tow surfing or?
Yeah, well, you grab the rope to get up, and then
Yeah.
you let go, and then the wave just builds, and you just sit in the barrel. It's going to be
That's
incredible.
gnarly.
So I'm working with all their I'm working with all their aqua engineers and all these guys that build the hull of the boat and make it all just gnarly. It's going to be like 33-footer. It's going to be nuts.
Is there anything on the internet with like?
This will be like the
maybe
first
like
of
a
its kind.
teaser of it?
Well, they have a 23-foot boat, a 25-foot boat, and right now it has a wake of about like 3 feet tall.
Okay.
And it's insane. It's incredible. And we have a boat actually.
What's the company name again?
Called Mastercraft.
Mastercraft. Oh yeah. Okay.
Best boats in the world, bro.
Yeah. I've heard of them too. Kind of a name. Okay.
It's kind of strange. Like the company Mastercraft started. This guy out of Florida built these boats like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And his whole philosophy was all about water skiing. So Mastercraft was known for their boats having the least amount of wake behind a boat ever.
Wow.
And then like fast forward 25 years later, they're trying to get the
Biggest wake ever.
When I came along, I'm like, hey, can you guys crank that wake up really? They're like, what?
Well,
so that's pretty cool.
So how much would you say your surfing career has influenced your writing and your playing?
I think all of it. I mean, I got introduced to music through surfing. I got introduced to all my friends. I've been surfing my whole life, so everything that I've done has come through surfing, for sure.
Does your son surf?
Oh,
Or your
yeah,
kids?
they're
They surf?
obsessed. Yeah, they surf, fish. They do everything.
Cool. Now, I heard on some of your songs, I did a little bit of listening through your other albums, that you play multiple instruments throughout the entire CDs that you have. So,
I mean, I try. The one guy who's incredible is this guy, Matt Grundy, that has been with me for like 14 years in the band. And he's like the guy that plays everything. And if he doesn't know it, you give him about 5 minutes and he figures it out. It's like crazy. So he's the guy that I'm like, if I hear something like banjo or lap steel or whatever, he's never played it before, he'll figure it out somehow. And so like on Start Livin', he played all those instruments. I just played acoustic guitar and sang. And on the last record we just did, The Heart, he did all the bass, all the electric guitar stuff, background vocals. I mean, it's like insane. It's really cool.
Wow. So you're now starting your 20th year as a singer-songwriter solo, away from the band that you started in the 90s.
Yeah.
So how's it feel to start 20 years now? You're 20 years going strong, and you just keep getting better. The heart,
it just feels good. You know, it feels good. It's like insane to be able to like still keep doing this. You know, like the greatest thing is to be able to write songs and then record them, and then put out a new record. It starts the whole cycle again, and I'm just stoked to be in the game. You know, like I'm just so happy that I got in when I did, because it was like 14 years ago when I put my first record out with Jack Johnson's label. It was like ever since then it's been like sort of the collapse of the music industry. But I felt like I got in right before it happened, so it was like really great, because if you're just starting out like right now, it would be pretty difficult, you know, I think.
Yeah.
It
is. Yeah.
Unless you had like some smash hit that broke through, and I also like through my surfing, to go back to that, it's like I had a built-in fan base a little bit all around the world, so I was able to like introduce them to the music and then go there and play for those people all over the place, and that really helped me out a lot, you know.
That's a good point. That's
because I can tour. I put out a record and I tour for like 2 years, and it goes international. Like we go to like our biggest market is Brazil, and I don't even have a record deal there. So like Brazil's huge, Japan, Australia, New Zealand. We go to Indonesia, all through South America, because it's really cool for me, because I wouldn't want to just put out a record and then like circle America like twice, you know. Because once you have an album out, you can really only go back to those places like maybe 2 times. And then the story's kind of like been done, and you know, so it's always great to put out a new record and start that whole cycle again.
And it's on your own label this time.
Yeah, I started my own label maybe like 3 years ago, and that was just a result of every other label I was on, like, you know, collapsed. So I had no choice really. So I started my own label and then just signed distribution deals around the world.
Perfect. Now you are a local artist.
I grew up in Orange County, yeah. So I grew up surfing in San Diego and all through San Clemente and, you know, all through California. I mean, just nonstop.
Nice. Well, I got a question about studios.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned on your bio that Black Rock Studio in Winsbury, Texas was awesome.
Yeah.
But you also recorded in Abbey Road Studio.
Yeah.
And that's pretty awesome.
Well, that was a weird thing that happened. I had a record deal with Universal when I first came out, and we were getting ready to make our second record, and we had this huge tour in Europe, and the guy who ran Universal in Europe, thank God he liked us, because he was the guy that was like, hey, I think I can get you guys to do a live DVD at Abbey Road. So I was like, is this guy kidding? Like, I was like, what? Because, you know, like usually they make those bands that like are 10 records deep, like go and do that, you know. So it was very odd that we were able to do that, and they had a massive budget. So I wasn't like, no, you know, we're not ready. I was like, screw it, man, we'll do it, like whatever it takes to get us in there. So he did it, and we had like 3 days in Abbey Road Studio, all access to everything, all the gear, and then at the end of the 3 days, we recorded a live DVD in front of like an audience there, and it was like so crazy for us, because we barely had enough songs to like fill the hour-and-a-half DVD. We only had one record out, and I barely had all the songs ready for the second song, so a few of those got on there, but it was crazy, you know. It was sort of like a little time warp that happened, and we left, and then, you know, it was just like an experience I won't forget. Like we were able to do, we went into the studio where the Beatles recorded, and we played on the same piano that they did Lady Madonna, sang through all the same mics that they sang through, and we did that song with a little help from our friends, and it was so bitch, and all the same machines that they used, and it was just crazy being there, and like feeling awesome. Like, you know, like in the back of my head, I'm like, we're not really supposed to be here, you know, like. You know, because I didn't think we were that ready to be
it's
there,
like a surreal moment.
Like crazy,
it's something that you strive for as a musician, and here you get it pretty quick in the game.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Was that 2006 that album came out?
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, that was like one of the highlights of the beginning of the whole thing. Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, and that's absolutely incredible, because that spurs you, that gives you more clout as a musician. Like, well, I did this. I performed at Abbey Roads, and I put out an album for that. Yeah. And so that gets you. So
it's pretty cool. Live record, my first live record live at Abbey Roads. That was a trip.
Yeah, that's cool. That's got to be.
I'd love
awesome.
to go back there again now and do it again. Oh, it'd be great.
Other than Abbey Roads, what's another dream studio you want to record out?
Maybe like Bob Dylan's home studio.
Okay, that is a dream. Let's bring it down to reality now.
I don't know. You know, like when we just recorded in Wimberley, Texas, at that studio, it was super incredible, because they had the full system set up where we made the record The Heart. We streamed it live on the internet for 10 days straight, 10 hours a day. So that what was so cool about the making of this record is that anybody could log on at any time and watch us create a song a day for 10 days. And that was what was really bitching, because the studio, Rupert Neve lives right around the corner from there, and so he has the most incredible board in there. So I knew it was going to sound good, but I was like, fuck, hopefully we get the songs and people like want to log on and they check it out. And it was like great. I think we had a total of like 28,000 people over the 10 days that logged on, either for like 15 minutes or an hour. Some people kept it on all day, and it was like it was just a cool experience to let people in and kind of be a fly in the wall when we made the record. So.
Yeah, and you got a lot of good feedback from that.
It was fun, yeah. People were, because they could, the whole time we were in there, they could write messages to us and be like, oh, try that guitar, or do that. They all became producers. It was like, right. I was like, oh no.
Did you give them any rights on the album? No, okay. Is it something you do again, like for your next album?
I would love to do it again.
That's awesome.
I think it'd be cool, and
that's a great connection to the fans.
Maybe like next time around, I was thinking like it'd be cool because this link was like free to click on. So I was thinking it'd be so bitchin' if like people clicked on it maybe for $1, and it was like at the end of that day we sent them the new song. Like as soon as it was mixed and mastered that day, you'd get the new song, and if you paid $10, as soon as the record was done, we'd send it to you right away. Like little incentives, like
that's a badass. It's like crowdfunding for the album almost built in while you're already making the album.
So cool, yeah, it'd be really fun.
That's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, just a way to kind of let it happen, and like let them be a part of it. I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
Well, I can tell it's an incredible fan experience. Reading up on it, like I said, you got really good reviews on that. It's very innovative.
It was really fun.
It was really cool. Neat. Whose idea?
I thought it was it was mine. I went there and did a live concert there a year before that.
Mm-hmm.
But the concert was only an hour long, so it was like they're like, tell your fans to log on from 6 to 7 Texas time, and I was like, well, I have fans in Brazil, I have fans all over the place. They're not going to be up, so it was like not that many people logged on. It was like maybe 1,000 people, and so we were having dinner that night. I go, man, we got to come back here and make a record. And they're like, what? I go, yeah, you stream it 10 hours a day, do a song a day, let everybody in, let them all, be a part of the making of the album. And we went back a year later. Sanuk, the sponsor that I have, they make Sanuk sandals. I ride for them, and they finance the whole thing. Made it like this really bitchin' Sanuk, like marketing thing, and they really got involved in the making of the record as well. And so it was super cool. We did it all together. Mastercraft got involved and gave away.
So then this truly was like a full collaboration of your life, because you mentioned this is like
it was an experiment too, because it was the first one. So I think the next one we do could be even better.
Heck yeah!
It could be, we could do even more things with it.
Well, you mentioned on your bio on your website that. Which is, what is your website again?
It's just DonavonF.com.
DonavonF.com.
I didn't want him to spell out the whole last name.
That'd be Frankenreiter, man. It'd be R-E-U and R-Z-T. Like, where the hell did that come from?
Like, even the way I spell my first name, it's D-O-N-A-V-O-N. Sometimes people are like, I can't find your music anywhere, and they spell it D-O-N-O-V-A-N. And they get the hurdy-gurdy man, dude.
There we go.
I'm looking for record sales from that guy, dude. Yellow. He's like, sales are up on my latest, greatest hits.
all of a sudden.
I get it all the time. They're like, I can't find your stuff anywhere. And I'm like, dude, you got to spell my name right, So but nobody spells it right, whatever.
Well, no, it's kind of hard to spell your name, so yeah I'll give you that. But you did mention on your website that this album is pretty much, it's an emotional release for you. Like, you put everything into this. So
it was really emotional making the record. It was cool.
It's like a culmination of everything about Donavon Frankenreiter.
Yeah, it all came together, I think.
So where do you go from here?
I don't know. I mean, it'll be another couple of years. We'll go out and tour it, and then I'll see where I'm at 2 years from now. We'll make another 11 songs and see what happens with those. I don't know. I just try to enjoy the moment. I don't think about the next record or the next song. Just enjoy these songs and this record, and whatever happens around the corner,
There you go.
Where we go, we'll do it.
Well, thank you so much for giving me some of your time. I took 10 or 15 minutes of your time, and much appreciated. You're a pleasure to talk to.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Thank you so much.